Boy, it's hot today. Gotta stay hydrated. Let me show y'all what we got today. Remember from a couple videos ago, the unit in here, or this unit, had like no refrigerant in it, and I had to go up in the old style slave access where they hit everybody for the Underground Railroad and shit. Air handler back up in there. Today I'm here to do the quote-unquote repair and just gas and go this thing and drop a UV dye sealant and pray to God that it works. I did, for those of y'all that didn't see the video, I did a pressure test with the system, and for like 15 minutes it didn't do anything. Didn't drop, didn't raise, it really just stayed exactly where it was. I understand that when you use nitrogen on pressure testing, you know, you gotta let it, what is it, as if the temperature outside increases, the pressure will increase. You know, if it decreases, it'll decrease, so on and so forth. But my pressure stayed the same, so I'm just assuming it's just a tiny leak somewhere that it's just gone everywhere. And I got it up to about, I think, 230 when I did the pressure test. And I was out of nitrogen that day. It was like my last call of the day. So gonna get this all situated for the vacuum. Let me just show you guys how I got it going right now. Even though this breaker was labeled for the AC, it's for the air handler in the attic. And I only know that because I put the system and fan on and was turning off all the double pole breakers until the fan literally stopped running, and it did off that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the unit under a vacuum because it's already empty. And then I'm gonna hop in the attic and change that disconnect. So I got the cheated cord on the shunt side of the contactor, and then just the, you know, neutral and ground right here, just on bare metal, going to the VP87. This thing is a tank. It's lasted me a couple years. Micron gauge right there. Ballast open on the pump. And okay, I do have the disconnect on, so I should be able to just cut this on. And there we go. We're gonna let this go. Let's keep on pulling a vacuum, and hopefully it gets below 1,000 while I go in there and change the disconnect. I got the Milwaukee rag, or not rag, except rag. It's like a little UV kind of mask thing. I had this in my cooler, like the whole drive from the gas station where I filled up, or the supply house where I filled up my ice at, all the way to this job. So it feels really nice on my neck right now. If I sound like I'm out of breath, it's because there was a dude outside mowing the yard as I pulled up and was getting my equipment hooked up. And I thought he was like done because the grass looked clean. Dude drove all the way around the house just one more time, I think just to be a dick, and kicked up so much pollen. I'm sneezing like Jacob in all of my other videos. So my bad if I'm out of breath. Still trying to recover from that. But let me get the ladder set up. I'm gonna hop in the attic, try and set the tripod up. Hopefully it's not too hot for the phone to record me switching out this disconnect. All right, it's a little bit too hot up here to like prop up my tripod and let the phone record. So I'm gonna just do this in spurts. Got the old one out. New non-fusible 60 amp, and got the old part of the whip right here. I think I'm gonna put it in the same spot. And I'm probably gonna have to disconnect one side of these heat strips and just let it run off a 5K instead of 10K. All right, so for the heat strips, I got one of the wires off that strip just undone. Oh God, this is just how it's gonna have to be for right now. I guess I can pull this off of this relay as well, because it's really not gonna do anything. there's no slack in this wire coming from the electrical panel. So I had to like skin it back right there. There's nothing nicked, but I had to peel the thing back just to be able to pull as much wire as I needed in here to get wired up in there. If you noticed on the last box, there wasn't even like a bushing or like a protective thing there for the wiring. So I put one in, but that's how I got wired. So I'm gonna put the panels on, put the disconnect piece, the pull stab in, put the cover back on, and get the heck out of here because the temperature is rising. However, it does feel good every time there's a breeze that comes through there. It drops that thing down like 10 degrees. All right, I know this isn't right. It's only reading 1064, and it's been running the entire time I was doing that little disconnect swap. I'm going to pull this and just dump the charge in, or not dump it, but weigh it in, starting out with what the condenser came pre-charged with, and then just dial it in from there. I don't want to dive into this too much because this seems like this was hacked in, because this doesn't match what's in the attic. And then written on the blower panel door is saying that it's like a different sized coil than what's there. So I mean, this is just one of them cheap situations. He doesn't want to, you know, just dive into it, just gas and go. So I mean, I really didn't even, it's best practice to do this, I guess, but I really didn't have to. I could have just came and gassed it up and kept going, but it would have probably been worse off if I didn't, because I feel like there's still moisture in there. I just don't think there's necessarily a leak. I just think there's just a crap ton of moisture in the lines. I mean, it's still pushing out a bunch of exhaust. So yeah, that's where I'm going with this one. I'm about to weigh this thing in and just go from there. All right, it calls for 62 ounces. Wow, I'm having difficulty speaking right now. Which is like 3.8 pounds, 3.87 I think. Pressures are equalized. I got the disconnect back in, clamps on, the Schrader core is back in. Everything's hooked up. Go ahead, click this back on for the air handler. Or the filter pull in. And we're gonna put this to cool. Set to 72. All right. We'll let this run for a little bit, let it do its thing. It is hot as balls in there, so it's probably going to take it a minute to truly adjust. Oh my God, what is that? What is that suction pressure doing? I'm gonna let this run for a minute. I'm gonna pray to God it's starting to go down, but let me talk to y'all for a second. I'm well aware of, like, you know, if you pull a vacuum and it doesn't reach 1,000, you know, obviously something's still wrong. Or if you pull below 1,000 and you decay test and it goes over 1,000, you know, you probably still have a leak. If this was a brand new install, I'd be way more inclined, you know, to make sure we cover our tracks, solve this issue. But considering just how much this has just been pieced together, and then how quickly the owner just wants this gassed up and put together, I'm just rolling with it. When I turned the vacuum off, the micron gauge was reading like still 1,000, like 1,010, and I waited for about 5 minutes. When I pulled it off, it only read 1,015. So I'm still gonna put a UV dye sealant. I've had a lot of success with those. I'll show the exact brand that I'm using on this job, but I'm well aware this is not by the book how a vacuum should be done. And it pains me to just like record this and I know that the flack I'm gonna get for it, but it's real world situations, and not everybody's got the money to pay for that time and that labor to do that kind of work. Again, this has already just been pieced together, so I'm just trying to get it back going, at least to run. I forgot what else I was going to say about this. I'm hoping it'll come back to me. I got to get these probes in the duct. Suction pressure dropped down to the 140s, so that's good. Let's try and see what this Delta T is going to be looking at, and how much I'm going to have to add, how much more of the refrigerant I'm going to have to add to this. Oh, what I was going to say is to those of you that have watched my videos before, you guys know I tried on all of my condenser swaps, when I've had to pull vacuums, you know, I've gotten below 1,000 before. I may not get to 500, but I for darn sure try to pull below 1,000. So it's not like, you know, I'm just doing it like old school. Oh, I'm gonna put it on there for 30 minutes and then pull it and it's good. No, I know something is still an issue with this, but I believe there's an issue with this entire system, just how it was pieced together. But that's to find out later. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say before I kept diving into this. All right, so something told me, judging by the pressures that I'm dealing with right now, that something is up with this evaporator coil. Now, I peeked my head in here, or my eyeballs, and I was like, this don't look, never seen that before on an ICP unit. And why is all this tape here? And remember that note I said about the coil? 2-ton universal, 3 years old R410A. Let's see how this thing is oriented, because I'm beginning to wonder if this is even working properly. Oh, I gotta cut this little bit of tape right here. Bow. Oh, well, okay. Why go through all this? Oh, might have an uninsulated bulb here. If I can get this panel door off. So I think the insulation is coming off the bulb, and I think that's affecting the entire performance of my TXV right now, because I'm only getting like an 11-degree Delta T. So I'm gonna go see if I can cut me some insulation, and because I don't have any insulation tape, I really wish I did right now, because it'd be way better than this. And just to see what I could do. I've never seen something stuck up under the pan like that, though. That's crazy. This definitely wasn't supposed to be here. Not at all. They tried to make it work, though. Definitely tried to make it work. You know what I just thought about? This unit, everything in here, and I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier. Size 4, 3.5 ton. This blower motor is probably running on like medium speed. I need to try to drop this to like the lowest speed tap to handle. I'm just thinking that. I mean, maybe it's a stupid idea, but if this thing isn't it should be pulling air over it too fast. But I feel like, I don't know. I'm just trying stuff at this point, trying to get this as good as possible. Speed tap right now for cool mode is the 2-speed, which is medium. So I'm gonna drop it on 1 and see how that goes. Just to try it. Maybe I'll have to put it back, maybe, but something in my head just screamed that, and I was like, it would make sense. In my head, it makes sense to decrease the speed, because this is no longer for a 3.5 ton system. So I'm gonna put this panel back on, screw it back on, and turn the unit back on, and God, I hope this gets it better. Oh, not gonna lie, I'm already feeling better about that decision I made up there with that fan motor speed. Oh, come on. That suction's been slowly increasing too, which is dropping that superheat, and my subcool's dropping. It was sitting around like 7 or 8, and I know everybody's gonna say you've got a TXV, it should be like, you know, 10, what is it, 8 to 12, you know, plus or minus 2 or whatever, but it's 90 degrees in here. Unless and I have no pressure chart out there to go by. It's mixed matched equipment. I'm just gonna try to at least get 15 to 20 degree Delta T and call it a day. I could care less about subcool. I would rather my superheat to be like at least around 15 right now. I mean, it's normal in my area, or at least on the systems that I've had to work on, where when it's this hot outside, the heat load and everything, what time? What's the temperature outside? Hold on. 92, real feel 97. I mean, with everything I've been told, you don't charge by subcool outside of like indoor temperature 70 to 80, and I think anything over 85 degrees outside, unless you have a pressure chart, which this Goodman has no pressure chart for superheat or subcool. So like I've come to a lot of systems where that's almost close to 0 or at least below 5, but then this will be maintaining, you know, 15 degrees. All right, again, we already know the unit is a 3.5 ton, you know, air handler blower motor with a 2 ton evaporator coil in it. That is a 14 by 20 return. Above the filter is just like, it's just this return box grill right here, and then a 14-inch cutout for, you know, a flat 14-inch flat tap, 14-inch flex to the air handler. House is 1,300 square feet. I'm pretty sure I got this thing back doing the best it literally can, given the hacked in scenarios that it's dealing with. Total charge that I've had to weigh in, I don't like that. Let me undo the hose. This is gonna make me mad. Turn it off, Austin. Jesus. Total charge 4.3. So that's how much I had to add in there just to be able to get it going. I mean, this is definitely not perfect at all or by the books. This is just ridiculous. So I'm gonna start cleaning up because I got one more call to do today, and this is taking up a good amount of time that I didn't think it was gonna need. To make this even sweeter, we had to let Jacob use my work truck over the weekend while we got him some tires. So I think he used my last easy seal on the truck. Now I gotta run to the supply house. Yay! Jacob, if you're watching this, we're gonna box. I swear to God. We're gonna get the gloves, go in the yard, and just duke it out. Boy, that just... not done with this job yet. Alright, back from the supply house. That's thankfully right down the street. Got the UV dye sealant hooked up on it. And just to show you guys, it's the Easy Seal. Yeah, I grabbed the 7.5 tons. It's the only one they had. Only treats, one size treat systems, 2 to 7.5. So hopefully there's enough in here to fix whatever might have caused the leak that was there. There are instructions on the back. However, I'm not about to read it because I'm just about to show it. All you need to do is just have your common hose, yellow hose, hooked up to the suction line with this in between it. And all you're going to do is just slowly crack open your high side. Liquid's going to come out of here, go through the manifold, come out, and push it in there. And you want to do it until it's pretty much completely empty. So I'm going to just crack it, and then it's empty. And that's all it is to it. I remember the first time I had to put one of those in, I was like scared I was going to do it wrong, but I actually read the instructions on that one the first time, and it's just been easy ever since. I don't know how the other styles do it. I just know this one has worked for us as, at the company I'm at, and it's just So just to wrap things up, I still think this thing has got a lot of problems with it. Don't know exactly what I could have done better on this job. I think I've got it doing the best that it can do. I do believe the TXV bolt to be mounted in the correct position. I really don't understand why somebody put a 2-ton. I don't know how long this has been like this. I mean, for that 2-ton coil to be in there with that 3.5-ton casing of around the entire unit and the blower motor sized for a 3.5-ton, you know, I can only make the motor. Oh, I left one of my hatches open. I only can have the blower move so slow. And if anybody thinks that me doing what I did on that speed tap was wrong, on those kind of motors, it wouldn't matter. It's got 2 different speed taps, one for the heat strips, one for the, I guess, G-call. So let's say if the person has the fan on, it's going to be running on that low speed, but the moment the heat strips cut on, it's going to jump to the highest speed. And then on top of that, you know, we've also got that electrical issue up in there with the wire sizing. Just to be on the safe side, I just dumbed down the 10K to a 5K. So they still have heat, just may take longer to heat the home. But yeah. Oh, this one was crazy. I almost feel defeated because I thought I was gonna be able to get it crisp, and I wasn't. But you can't fix them all. You can try, but not everything is fixable. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a good day. I'll probably have a compressor change out in the morning that I'm gonna try and record, but we will see. Everybody have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.